Hello, I'm Nicholas Allbrook. I'm here chatting with Milky. Yeah, it's weird. I listened to some old stuff of ours earlier, and I was sort of shocked by how little difference there is. I think I put more time into writing the words now. I know back in the day it was just like whatever psychedelic whimsical bullshit like we heard or read on a sign or something, and be like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just repeat that a couple of times. And now I sort of get into the whole process of it, like sitting down and writing. I'm really enjoying collaborating with different people for solo stuff. Just kind of throwing, different instrumentations and people's different kind of harmonic sensibilities around and seeing how that moves it. I guess maybe I didn't want to do that so much before because I was still trying to figure out my own voice or something, which is sort of has a bit of an egotism to it. I think being too concentrated on finding your own, your own voice and stuff. And now I don't really care that much. So it's like get other people to do stuff and chants using tape loops and stuff like that. To try and find something that is past where I would have gone if I was just imagining it or planning it. It really helps me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I've been doing it for a bit now, and it's kind of become part of my life and my language. And part of my processing, I think I've noticed a few times, which does it. I've often wondered if this is like really has an element of sort of like cowardice to it in a way where I find it easier to speak to people through song rather than directly. And I don't know why that is. Is it like maybe an Australian predilection towards keeping things sort of, easy, she'll be right, or my own thing, or I'm not sure. But I do find it, I find it easier to talk to people indirectly, which is a bit, it's not super healthy, but at least I've got a way of doing it somehow. And I think like I don't want to sort of it gets so thrown around at the moment that like now where we're living now is like somehow massively more dangerous and broken and fucked up than any other time. But like it does seem like there's a lot of fear, like a proper existential fear, obviously. And I guess that you reflect that naturally. And people died. I'm getting older, and as you get older, more people in your life die. It's very sad. And the sort of fun and levity of youth starts to disintegrate. So there's a bunch of stuff to kind of process. People dying, relationships fucking up, the world falling into catastrophe and shit like that. And a lot of joy to sort of mitigate that as well. It was pretty mishmashed, Like, I don't know how, it's a fucking miracle that it came together to sound like one album, honestly, because there are a couple songs that are a bit sort of boppy, and there are a couple that were recorded in a completely different place with a live band that sort of, I don't know, in my mind it would sound like kind of kind of a Roy Ayers punk band, which sounds fucking awful, but like in my mind I was like, this will be cool, you know. Basically just playing stacked piano chords on a Rhodes, but with a like kind of more furious band, and less tight, obviously, and less musically gifted. And doing that, and then some of it are just like weird sort of collages of like bits of YouTube clips and poems and tape loops and stuff like that. So I think that, I mean, I got totally overwhelmed and burnt out by the album because I was just like, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to make this sound like one album. Looks like it's back to Bandcamp for me. And then I had Nathaniel Ho-Ho, my friend, that's his real name. And Gum, Jay Watson. Gum was doing mixing, and he really just like did this incredible, both of those guys did incredible work helping me to make it cohesive. And yeah, I'm glad you said that it comes out with that sort of you know, I mean, the psych retro thing, I'm not really sure about that. I mean, I guess it just happens because, like, after being called psych retro for 15 years, you sort of start taking the identity on, you know, no matter what. So that's fine. The sort of Oz, sparkly 80s shit, I just listen to that a lot. The Divinals and Dragon and the Oils, you know. So I'm glad that comes across in a couple of the tunes. I guess it sort of goes back to my answer to the first or second question. Like, I have an idea, like with the Jackie one. But then I also really, the best clips, the Commodore one and the Jackie one, and the Round Round the Moon one, is done with people who I know well enough, who don't mind trusting that something is going to happen to make it work. You know, which is really hard and can be really scary, but I think that's a big part of what, maybe that's how I've changed as a creating stuff person, is like, you know that something's going to happen, and it's fucking terrifying and painful and upsetting, you know, destroying your self-conception when you haven't found it, but something eventually comes. Like with the Jackie one, we went in there and like, I could say this for so many of our clips. It was like, the idea was, all right, we'll go into this hall, I'll sort of dress up in this Weimar era kind of thingamajigger, and we'll get Ash Brockman to come in and do his, you know, his sort of gothic cabaret type shit. And then his mate, who was helping, brought in his mate Stryker, who's like a really has been a huge part of their sort of queer drag avant-garde in Australia. So it was pretty, like, quite an honour. And he came in and just brought all these like bits of, it was almost dust, but it was like the little bits from the end of like dandelions or something, but a box of it. And he was just like, oh, I thought maybe this could work. And so we ended up throwing it into the fan, and it went down, and it made that like the starlight type thing. And it was just like, you know, something always comes if you let it. And it was the same with, like, in the Round Round the Moon one, like, Thea, the flautist, brought in this fucking sparkly, like, cat suit thing. It's like, there you go. That's the thing. You know, and with Commodore, it was just me and my friend Christosky, who's born on the same day as me. Happy birthday. We were just sitting around, basically piss-farting around, driving around LA looking for something cool. And we went into some disgusting costume shop in Hollywood and like bought some fake blood and some glitter, went into an op shop, bought some ill-fitting suit pants, and we went under the bridge and I danced around, threw my shoe at stuff. And I don't know.
Oh, I love that. Expression just hits everything.
Yeah. As long as you're having fun, then it usually comes out. Yeah. I guess it depends on the person, doesn't it? Oh, I suppose I'd just go for the bangers, wouldn't I? Go for Jackie and Commodore, and like I really like Babel. I think that's become one of my favourites, which is one of those ones that sort of came together in a random way as well. Yeah, maybe Jackie, Commodore, Babel. I don't think anything gets stuck in my head anymore. I've listened to it too much. I think a few people got Jackie stuck in their head when that came out, which made me proud. There are a couple of lines I really like, some lyrics that I think are really good. I like, but the city's got to work, the wheels got to turn again. Is death a lycra colleague that only on Fridays you greet as a friend? That's one of my favourites. I was quite proud of that. I gave myself a little pat on the back. I mean, with Pond, like you have your ideas and you feed them into the, the petri dish that is those other freaks that I spend all my time with, and it changes in that way. And they put their thing into it, and I put my thing into it, and it becomes Pondy. I guess with my solo stuff, like when I've got things that are too ill-conceived, like just an idea that I know that if I just present that to the Pond crew, they'll just be like, well, what is this? What are we meant to do with this? This is just you saying, let's get like an orchestra tuning up and I'll say some stuff, But for my own thing, I can be like, come on, Nick, this is going to work, I don't know, it's always different. I'd like everything to be more different, but you do fall into your processes. But I think, stuff needs to be. No, it doesn't need to be, but it's nice when stuff's real different. Because, no matter how much I change my process for making stuff, it still kind of comes out sounding like Nick. So if I just did the same process, like, God knows how samey it would be. It would be unlistenable. I was listening to the radio the other day, and it was Radio National, and there was some fella talking about happiness, and he talked about being involved in flow activities, which I know is a bit of a buzzword, so I know I don't want everyone cringing too hard, but that's what he said. Flow activities like sport, art, things that are hard work and put you just straight into nothing, into the moment, again. But it's true. And playing live does that. You can't, I can't be anxious until the gig's finished. And that's really fucking important, and I love the experience of engaging with people and being engaged by people. Everything is slowly becoming dehumanized in our whole life. Even like love is becoming appified. It's not just like gambling and banking. It's like actual human connection is being appified. So it's like fucking important to actually engage with someone. And yeah, it's a privilege to be able to do it. And yeah, it's great. Jesus. Andre 3000 on his big flute thing. Mayan flute. So much. I mean, a big one was Todd Rundgren, Wizard of True Star. Like the Wizard of Oz? Or like the Lion King? No, it's too good. Wizard of Oz. Oh, that's really good as well. I'm just remembering all the songs. I'll stick with it. Fuck it. Nothing. Miley. Well, I-oh. That's all I could do at the time, but it's, everybody's gonna be happy, which means you and me, my love. Everybody's gonna be happy, which means you and me, my love, and I know. Probably Cease at, in the back of a tattoo shop in Perth. Spice Girl. Crusty Spice, I don't know. Wise Blood? I mean, I don't know, Little Richard? I don't know. Remember not to get any work done, even if you get old. You're just gonna look stupid. There's some moments somewhere around the end of school when I'd gone through being obsessed with skateboarding, obsessed with footy, obsessed with soccer, and obsessed with sort of 90s hip-hop. And then I got into really, really into rock and roll. And I think that must have been around that time.